So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Robert. If this is your first time tuning in, so today we're going to be quickly discussing the difference between a cellular camera and a traditional camera. So stay tuned. If you enjoy content like this, definitely consider subscribing, liking, and sharing on this video. It's definitely appreciated. So without further ado, let's go and get into it. So what I have behind me are two cameras. One is a Muddy, one is a Moultrie. The only significant difference is one is a cellular camera and one is a traditional battery operated SD card camera. Aside from that, this one also doesn't have an SD card. Everything is stored on the cloud, online, and operated through an app. This one is your traditional, you have to go up to the camera, pull the card, and view them on your phone with a SD card reader. So those are the two, I guess, main differences. It's cellular and no SD card, batteries and SD card. So those are the two main differences between these cameras. Now, a lot of questions that I do get is, is it worth it? Is it worth spending the money for a cellular camera versus a traditional camera? Just for reference, by the way, I'll leave all these down below in the description for anyone who is interested. This one retails for about $30 to $40. This one retails for about $100 to $120. So, you can typically get, 3 cameras of these for one price of this. So, yeah, that's something that people are going to factor in, especially if you have a tight budget and you want to scout and you want to see what's coming out to your feeders, but maybe you just don't have the budget to get enough cameras out there at this price point. So you want to know, is this worth it? So what I particularly do, I'll kind of give you a little description of how I use them. There's no real, yes, it's worth it for everybody because everyone's situation is a little bit different. Everyone's property and landscape is different. But how I do it is if there's an area that I know for sure, if there's like a feeding area, say a feeder, if there's a feeder, I use my cellular cameras because I want to know when those animals are there. So that way I don't spook them coming into my blind or my stand. I'm not spooking the deer. For these, I use them more in areas that I'm just trying to scout to see what the hell is coming through there. That's typically when I use these. If say there's a trail in some wooded area and I'm just gonna set that thing, kind of forget it for a while. I'll come back and check this and see what's passing through there. Now typically that's done before the season actually starts. So I'm not going in and out of there. And like I said, that's kind of why I say set it and forget it. I set it in there, I check it maybe 3 weeks later, a month later, 2 weeks later, whatever, and see what's been coming through there. If there's anything decent, maybe I can draw them to a feeder. Then I'll start getting out the cellular cameras to kind of more, then I'll get the cellular cameras to kind of keep track of more or less when are they coming in, coming out. The cellular cameras come in handy because you can get an exact time of when an animal is coming to a specific location, especially if it's an area where you're going to be having to cross or maybe come in close contact with. You want to know if your target animal is there, if there's any does in the area. The does start blowing, then nothing shows up for a while. So that's why I kind of like cellular cameras. And I would say if you have the money, if you have the budget, go ahead and do it, and you don't mind the monthly payments for a cellular camera for the service. That is one thing I'm going to mention. A lot of people don't actually know that after you buy the camera, you still have to pay a monthly service to keep the camera on. So that's a lot of things that I see people get confused with or don't know, is that yes, it's like having a phone bill. It runs with a AT&T network, Verizon network, whatever. You're going to have to pay for this thing monthly to keep it activated. So that's something again, to keep in mind. Now the prices for those plans do vary. They're, depending on if you want a limited plan or you want an unlimited plan and which brand of cameras you go with as well. But yes, if you can afford to pick up some cellular cameras, I definitely would. I think they're worth it. Keep in mind, the only downfall with these is that the batteries go way faster than a traditional camera do. You will have to replace the batteries on these things a lot more often than something like this. Now, these do come with the option, at least this specific brand comes with the option to add up to 16 batteries in here, 8 on one side, 8 on the other. So they last not quite as long as this either, even with 8 batteries. but they last longer than if you just had 8 batteries in there. It kind of varies depending on if I have it on video mode or picture mode, but it still burns a lot because it's sending a signal to the phone, or to the service, to my phone. And then if I'm logging in and activating the camera from my phone, I'm also burning the batteries in there a little bit more as well. So keep that in mind, that yeah, they are nice. If you want to put them in an area also where you're not going to be visiting, you just want to know what's going through there and at what time, and you just don't want to be, you know, getting your scent into those particular areas. Maybe it's a bedding area, maybe it's wooded area, and you just don't want to be putting any kind of scent in there. You just want to get in there one time and kind of be done with it. Then yeah, a cellular trail camera would work for that situation as well. Like I said, I typically, if I don't know what's out there, I'll put one of these, because I don't want to use my good cameras for something if there's nothing even out there. Because I don't have a bunch of these, but I have a couple of these. So I want to utilize these for areas that I know for sure have bucks. Versus these, I'll put them in areas where I'm not sure what's out there yet, but we're going to kind of put these out there to see, and I'll come back and check them later. Now, if we start getting a lot of activity in that area, then I'll kind of get these out to kind of get a more of an accurate pinpoint time, so that way I know when and where to move, to go out there, etc. To see, you know, if I can actually target these animals. Now, another thing that is not really considered particularly super important, but it is fun, is I love having cellular cameras because I look forward to waking up every single day during the hunting season just to check my phone to see what kind of pictures I got on my cameras. It's a lot of fun. It's exciting. You may be sitting at home. You may be out at I remember I was at a wedding one time and my phone went off and it was a picture of a buck at the feeder. So yeah, it's exciting to know at this point in time there is a nice looking buck at your feeder. So from a happiness, from a psychological standpoint, yeah, they're a lot of fun because you can get instant notifications of what's coming to the feeder at exact specific times. And like I said, you can be sitting at home and then boom, get a notification and you have that amazing buck at the feeder. So it's pretty cool. Now with these, you can't do that. Obviously, you have to go out there to physically pick out the card and read them. But this is fun too, because sometimes you look forward to it. You get anxious to go see what has been coming out to a specific location. So that is cool too. I mean, I get excited. You know, I can't wait to go pull the card to see what happened while the camera was out there. The biggest thing I would worry about with these are going to be the battery life. How important is that to you? You can add a solar panel to these things as well, but obviously it's going to increase your cost. So keep that in mind. But yes, if you want to add a solar panel, it'll definitely extend it and make things a little less involved. You have to be less involved if you can add a solar panel to these things, and they'll run longer. But if you're just going to buy them and leave them the way they are and not add anything to them, just know that these are going to burn the batteries way faster. You are going to have to go out there and change out the batteries a little bit more frequently. Versus these, the batteries last a very, very long time because they aren't using any kind of cellular network or anything like that. But again, the biggest advantage of these is that pictures are instant. You can, you know, if you're going to be going hunting in 2 or 3 days, you kind of already have an idea of how to enter the property, especially if you have them situated a specific way to kind of see how the animals are coming. And you also know exactly what's coming before you get out there. Versus with these, you're going to have to check the card either before getting into the blind, maybe a day or two before, and actually physically go out there, pull the card, and see what's been coming out. So they have their pros and their cons. In my opinion, I like to have both. But if you can definitely afford to get a couple of these, even just one, it definitely is a tremendous help for your season and for the success of your season. But yeah, that's gonna be my quick little video on the difference between these cameras. A lot of people, again, are interested in buying cellular cameras, but again, the price point is a sticking point for a lot of people and kind of pushes them away from cellular, as well as the plan. I know when I first was looking at them, the fact that I had to pay a monthly subscription was a big turnoff for me. But as I've kind of learned, it does make life a little bit easier having these things, and it is fun to have cellular cameras as well. Like I said, you get instant notifications, so it's really exciting. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and leave it there, guys. Again, if you gained any value from this video, definitely consider subscribing, definitely like and share this video. And we are coming up on the hunting season. It's getting exciting. We're starting to preparing now as the season starts to progress and we start to run into the season. So without further ado, be careful, be good, take care, and God bless. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.